The Defiance, December 19th, 1944, 5:30 hours. Bastogne, Belgium. The forest breathes steam. Engines idle low, coughing the cold. Snow creaks under boots that haven't been dry in days. Inside a freezing command post. Canvas walls stiff with ice. A German field telephone rings once, sharp and final. A lieutenant snaps it up, listens, then stiffens. Outside, 88mm artillery booms roll through the Ardennes like distant thunder. The war is moving again. You can smell it before you understand it. Cordite, diesel, wet wool, fear. Maps are spread across a wooden table, weighed down by coffee mugs and spent cigarette butts. Red arrows westward. Hitler's last gamble. Unternehmen Wacht am Rhein. The Bulge. Somewhere to the south, General George S. Patton is already awake. Patton's Third Army is pivoting. Steel on frozen roads, Sherman's grinding their treads raw as they turn north against a storm. Orders have been issued with Patton's signature speed. Relieve Bastogne. Break the encirclement. Move now, but behind the German lines. Another order has been issued, one that will never appear on a map. It doesn't come from a general staff. It doesn't pass through proper channels. It defies everything Patton believes about how war is fought. A column of American prisoners, mud-smeared, frostbitten, stands in a clearing at dawn. Their helmets are gone. Their hands are numb. An officer reads from a folded paper, his breath white in the air. The men don't understand the words, but they understand the tone. This is not routine. Machine guns are repositioned. Safety catches click off. Somewhere between the crack of rifle bolts and the whine of wind through bare branches, a line is crossed, quietly, deliberately, a decision made not for strategy, but for defiance. By noon, rumors begin to spread. Broken fragments carried by medics, civilians, escaped POWs stumbling through the snow. Stories that don't sound real. Stories that shouldn't be possible in a professional army. They reach American lines in pieces. By nightfall, one of them reaches Patton. He says nothing at first. He reads. He rereads. His jaw tightens. The room is silent except for the ticking of a field clock and the distant thunder of guns. This isn't just murder. It's a message. And Patton understands messages. He folds the report once. Slowly. Then he reaches for his gloves. The realization. Patton steps outside into the dark. December 20th, 1944. 23:10 hours. Luxembourg. The cold hits like a slap. Snow spins sideways under blackout conditions, swallowing headlights, muffling sound. Somewhere nearby, a tank crew laughs too loudly, the kind of laughter that comes from exhaustion, not humor. Patton doesn't acknowledge it. He pulls his gloves tight and looks north, toward Bastogne, toward the chaos. Inside his command trailer, the report lies open again. Handwritten notes, a survivor's statement, coordinates approximated in shaking pencil, a list of names that ends abruptly midline. Patton has seen death before. Plenty of it. He has ordered men into it without apology. But this is different. This isn't the violence of maneuver or firepower. This is contempt. The Germans are not just fighting. They are answering him. The realization settles slowly, like frost forming on steel. This act wasn't random. It wasn't panic. It was deliberate defiance, an assertion that Patton's speed, his threats, his reputation mean nothing here, in the trees and snow of the Ardennes. Hitler's fingerprints are all over it. When the Reich is cornered, it does not retreat. It lashes out. Patton turns back inside. The room is crowded now. G2 intelligence, operations officers, a colonel from the 4th Armored Division with ice, still clinging to his greatcoat. Maps cover every surface. Bastogne is circled in greased pencil, a wounded heart under siege. Can you confirm this? Patton asks, voice flat. The intelligence officer hesitates. That's all the answer Patton needs. Confirmation is coming. More reports. More fragments. The pattern is emerging. Prisoners taken, then never reaching collection points. Units identified. Routes traced. Patton's face hardens. This is no longer about Bastogne alone. This is about rules, unspoken ones, that keep war from collapsing into something worse. And the Germans have broken them, openly, almost daring him to respond. Outside, engines roar as columns roll north. The Third Army is moving faster than anyone thought possible. Trucks fishtail on icy roads. Shermans push through snowdrifts with dozer blades down. Men sleep, sitting up, rifles across their knees. Patton watches them go. He knows the official response. Investigate. Document. Protest through channels that lead nowhere. He also knows what those channels cost. Time, ambiguity, deniability. He doesn't choose them. Instead, Patton issues a quiet directive. Not written. Not filed. Passed mouth to ear among trusted commanders. It is not an order of mercy. It is a warning. And once spoken, it cannot be taken back. The turning point. December 22nd, 1944. 1440 hours. Near Assinois, south of Bastogne. The snow is churned black by tracks and blood. A Sherman burns quietly at the roadside, its ammunition already cooked off, its crew gone. The sky hangs low, heavy with the promise of more snow, or worse. Patton's Third Army has made contact. The 4th Armored Division punches forward yard by yard. Tank destroyers nose first, infantry riding the decks until fire forces them off. German resistance stiffens as the Americans close in. These aren't retreating units. These are orders carried out to the last man. And the Germans know Patton is coming. At a forward aid station, medics work without speaking. A young private, no more than 19, keeps asking the same question through chattering teeth. Did we get through? No one answers him. Outside, a chaplain kneels beside a body laid out in the snow, helmet resting on crossed hands. Then word spreads. Another group of prisoners found. Another clearing. Another silence where men should have been. This time, the evidence is undeniable. Dog tags recovered. Unit patches frozen into flesh. Spent casings stacked neatly, as if even now someone cared about order. The message is clear now, not just to Patton, but to every man under his command. This war has changed. At a battalion command post, an American major receives Patton's message relayed through the chain. It's short, carefully worded. It never says what to do, only what not to waste time doing. No delays, no misunderstandings, no repeat incidents. The major looks up from the map. He meets the eyes of his company commanders. No one asks for clarification. They don't need it. On the German side, fear begins to creep in where confidence once stood. POW escorts report that Americans no longer hesitate, that firefights end differently now, that white cloths waved too late are ignored, not always, but often enough to be noticed. This is Patton's revenge. Not reckless, not loud, calculated. The Third Army does not slow. It does not pause to sort the moral debris of what is unfolding. It drives forward with a new, colder efficiency. The Germans who survive retreat faster now, glancing over shoulders, wondering if surrender still means what it used to. By nightfall, American armor is less than a mile from Bastogne. Inside the encircled town, the 101st Airborne can hear the guns growing closer. Deep, reassuring thunder from the south. Hope returns in cautious whispers. But behind the lines, the war has slipped its leash. And once unleashed, it will demand a price from everyone involved. The Reckoning, December 26, 1944, 1650 hours. Bastogne perimeter. The first Sherman breaks through the trees like an apparition, olive drab against white snow, antenna whipping, hull scarred by weeks of fighting. Infantry follows close behind, boots slipping, rifles up. The siege is over. Bastogne is relieved. Men of the 101st Airborne emerge from cellars and foxholes, faces hollow, eyes burning. Some cheer, some simply sit down in the snow, too tired to react. Hands are shaken, cigarettes traded. For a brief moment, the war exhales. Patton allows himself no celebration. He arrives hours later, boots crunching through frozen rubble, helmet low, eyes scanning everything. Bastogne smells of smoke, rot, and cordite. Dead horses lie where they fell weeks ago. Civilians watch silently from shattered doorways. Patton stops at a command post. He listens. He asks questions. Short ones. Behind the relief, something else follows. An unspoken reckoning. German units withdrawing from the Bulge report encounters that don't make sense. Patrols that vanish. Rear guards wiped out to the last man. Prisoners who never arrive. Fear spreads unevenly, unpredictably. Some German officers tighten discipline, desperate to restore order. Others look the other way, knowing it's too late. The Americans are no longer just advancing. They are hunting. Patton's reputation does the rest. His name moves faster than his tanks. Whispers carry it through snowbound forests and ruined villages. Stories grow in the telling. Some are exaggerated. Some are true enough, and Patton does nothing to correct them. At 3rd Army Headquarters, a staff officer suggests formal documentation, records, after-action reports, something to protect them when this is all over. Patton cuts him off with a stare. When first, he says, paper can catch up later. The Bulge is collapsing now. German fuel runs out. Vehicles are abandoned. Men freeze where they stand. Hitler's great gamble is failing, bleeding out in the snow. But the cost is higher than anyone expected. When investigators eventually walk the forest months later, they will find places that never made it into official histories. Clearings without markers. Graves without names. Evidence of a winter where restraint quietly disappeared. Patton leaves Bastogne as abruptly as he arrived. His war is still moving east. Yet the question lingers, unanswered and uncomfortable. Did his response save lives by ending resistance faster? Or did it drag the war into a darker place, one no victory parade could erase? The answer waits just ahead, where consequence always waits. The aftermath. January 1945. Dawn. Somewhere east of the Meuse River. The snow is thinner here, churned into gray slush by retreating boots and broken machines. The 3rd Army advances through villages that barely resist anymore. Doors hang open. White flags appear sooner now. Sometimes too soon, sometimes too late. Patton rides forward in his command car, wrapped in his ivory-handled pistols and silence. The Bulge is finished. Hitler's last offensive has burned itself out, leaving behind wreckage, frozen bodies, and a trail of decisions no one wants to claim. Officially, the war returns to form. Prisoners are processed again. Lines are drawn. Reports are written carefully, selectively. The machine of victory demands order, but men remember. Tank crews remember fights where surrender was offered and rejected. Infantrymen remember officers who didn't ask questions. German survivors remember a sudden shift, an invisible line crossed in December where the rules changed and never quite came back. Patton knows the war will end soon. He knows there will be tribunals, historians, politicians. He also knows something else. Fear works. The German retreat accelerates. Resistance collapses faster in sectors Patton's name touches. Units dissolve rather than fight. Lives, American lives, are spared by the sheer momentum of terror and speed. And yet, there is no satisfaction in it. One night, Patton stands alone outside his quarters, staring east. The guns rumble distantly, like a storm moving away. He lights a cigarette, then lets it burn without drawing. He has won this phase of the war. He has broken the enemy's will. But he has also learned a truth few commanders ever admit. Once war slips past its boundaries, you don't get to choose how far it goes, only how fast. After the war, investigations will be muted, files classified, questions softened by victory. Patton himself will not live long enough to defend or deny what happened in those forests. History will argue in his absence. Hero, butcher, necessary evil. The black and white photographs will survive. Tanks in snow, soldiers smiling, Bastogne liberated. They will not show the clearings. They will not show the moments when mercy was weighed and set aside. But those moments mattered. Because in December 1944, when Hitler defied Patton's authority, Patton answered. Not with words, not with protests, but with a response that reshaped the battlefield and haunted it long after snow melted. Victory came, but it came change,